Let's talk about artificial intelligence. Unless you've been living under a rock for the past few years, you've probably seen the impact artificial intelligence can have, not only from a business perspective, but in how people are living and conducting their day-to-day lives. I have friends and colleagues who use artificial intelligence as their main search engine. They don't have Google on their phone. They don't have Safari. They use ChatGPT or Claude or Grok or whatever the technology is to conduct the majority of their information sourcing. And rightfully so. There's an efficiency with how the software produces information. And from an information reading perspective, there's a lot that it can do to help analyze mass amounts of data and create conclusions. And we've talked a lot about it on the show. We talked with Tara Ostromecki in the last episode about her marketing agency, things she's utilizing AI for to become more efficient, and some trends she's seeing in the industry that are actually creating a challenge for people to grow and scale from a marketing perspective because of the misuse or overuse of AI in marketing. Before that, we had Bryce Meisen on the show, the founder of Judoka LLC, which is a custom software development shop focusing on the integration of artificial intelligence. But what we haven't talked about is what we're seeing on the real estate and mortgage side of things in terms of what software is out there impacting our industry or what trends we're seeing in the future. So let's dive into that. For me personally, AI, artificial intelligence, has become a focus of my day-to-day business. Within real estate, within mortgages, I want to try to figure out what software is out there to create efficiencies or replace a potential new hire. Obviously, there can be some cost-saving benefits, but part of what I want to understand when I'm looking at AI and software is not just the software itself and the capabilities, but how can I best use it to improve my business? Because there's a lot of misuse when it comes to artificial intelligence. And I think sometimes people rely on it for the wrong types of things or expect it to do things that it can't because you haven't told them how to do it properly. Artificial intelligence has a certain script and way you need to go about it. But within real estate, there's a couple trends that I've seen. One trend that I'm really excited about and have done a lot of digging on recently is the idea that artificial intelligence can become a personal assistant. If you think of all the data that you have access to on your phone, whether that's in your Notes app, on your Google Drive, in your email, and your text messages, with the right programming and integration, artificial intelligence can see that information. And what that then means is artificial intelligence can create actions off of the information that it sees. One project that Bryce and I discussed previously, and this is making its way into the real estate space, is the idea of Jarvis. So if you've seen Iron Man, you know that the omniscient being within his suit is Jarvis. Effectively, it's this artificial intelligence assistant that is all-knowing. It's able to pretty much understand anything about the life of the subject and create whatever actions are necessary based on what you tell it to do. A use case for this within the real estate industry, there's this new software, it's called House Whisper. This is one of many different softwares. But effectively, the idea becomes during a real estate transaction, you call into this number, which an AI bot picks up and answers. They act as your personal assistant. So you can then ask it questions about your business. It will give you information and then create subsequent actions all from a phone call. And I wholeheartedly believe that this is the way a lot of the world is going. At some point, there will no longer be apps. There won't be websites. You will just have a phone number or a landing page that you can accomplish pretty much anything you're looking for. As these chat and voice bots become more developed, that's definitely the direction we're going in. From a real estate perspective, let's say you're someone who stores a lot of documents in Google Drive, has multiple emails, a very fluid calendar. That's a lot to keep track of. Imagine if you had a phone number you could call into and say, hey, Jarvis, what documents were uploaded into my Google Drive today? Could you summarize those into a 1 to 2 sentence answer just so I know the progress of the team on the back end? All while you're driving in your car. Within a few seconds, it'll be able to analyze the document, tell you what was uploaded, and ask, do you want to take any action on this? Depending on the document, you might. Let's say someone uploads a new contract. You're under contract on a real estate transaction. Yes, the contract is in your inbox. Could you please take that document and send it over to my assistant, John, so that John can send it out for signatures? And in that email, please make a reference to the fact that the sales disclosures are linked in my Google Drive under this folder. What folder was that? And then it'll tell you the folder. So you can start to create essentially a personal assistant from the software. House Whisper is one that I saw recently I thought was a very interesting prospect. And it effectively creates that type of interaction between a real estate professional and their CRM. So you can call into your assistant after you have a client meeting, give it notes, give it actions, and all that information goes right into your CRM. You're able to create follow-up messages from that interaction, from that phone call. You can say, well, I just had a meeting today with John. John has 2 cats. His birthday's in April, and he's got an upcoming engagement that I want to make sure I touch base with him on in the next few months. Can you add a reminder in my CRM and send him a follow-up message tomorrow under the first template that we have created, whatever the case. So you're able to create a lot of these automations off the software. And I think this is going to be a great thing for the real estate industry. That's just one example of a software that I found that I think could be helpful. But where you can really start to excel is talking with some sort of consultant like Bryce, because Bryce is able to take all of the software that's out there, chat models, different AI softwares, and basically connect them all together across your platforms and apps to accomplish whatever objective you're looking for. So for me, one of the use cases I'm exploring is this idea of Jarvis. Can I have a personal assistant that I don't have to pay, right? They're not on salary. I don't have to give them a 401k. I can just pay a monthly subscription for and be able to access information across all of my databases, all of my emails, all of my various businesses while driving my car. Because for me, driving is incredibly inefficient. And for most entrepreneurs, especially in real estate, driving is one of the things that you probably resent the most, at least for me. I can't be on my phone. I can't be on my computer. I don't have access to all my resources. But if I can call into this assistant, still keep an eye on my emails and give actions all from my voice, that's incredibly impactful. From the mortgage side specifically, we're also seeing a lot of trends in artificial intelligence. When it comes to appraisals are eventually going to be not entirely automated, but a large component of the valuation process that we use today in real estate is going towards artificial intelligence. In a lot of cases today, we're able to completely waive the appraisal requirement on a residential purchase based on the automated decision that we have from our software. And that automated decision ultimately is referencing data. So the thing when it comes to artificial intelligence, it's only as good as the data it has. So if you give it enough data and the right script to be able to interpret the data, it can be incredibly accurate. But that's always the challenge. And so where the industry has gone to now is a lot of every single appraisal that gets done on a residential transaction by an institutional lender has to get recorded and reported in a central database. Part of that is creating this data center to allow artificial intelligence and software to start to make references and interpretations off of the information. Ultimately, I do foresee a lot of the appraisals becoming an automated process, having borrower or client provided photos for artificial intelligence to scan and make a determination on. Now, there were a long way before we get to that point. We saw Zillow fail pretty significantly at their automated home buying objective, where they basically use software to try to determine the fair value of a property and put in a cash offer that was less than the fair market value to ultimately flip or invest in real estate. And they lost billions of dollars. So I think we need to give it more time before we actually see it on the financing side really come to fruition. So it's very similar from a finance perspective. We look at financial advisors. Financial advisors' entire job is based around the premise of analyzing information, both past, current, and projecting the future, to give you suggestions on your financial situation based on the information that's available. So from the finance perspective, we just haven't had enough time to be able to fine-tune the amount of data that we're able to provide with the types of actions and language we need the software to interpret to give us some level of accuracy. So it's going to be some time before the finance industry really adopts this technology widely. But I do think from an operational perspective, there are so many efficiencies that you can explore. House Whisper was just one name that I thought of top of mind, but there are so many softwares and resources that you can take advantage of. Even with how you use ChatGPT. For real estate specifically, a lot of people will use it for social media, which I think, of course, it can be a great tool. If you don't train the AI on how you want it to communicate to you and what boundaries and parameters it's supposed to operate in, it's the theory of garbage in, garbage out. If you don't tell it the right thing to do or give it the right framework, it's just going to throw junk right back at you because you haven't taught it. It doesn't know you. It will give different answers for different people because of the information you give it. So take some time. I would research. There's plenty of videos on YouTube that really show you how to take advantage of artificial intelligence. And as this Jarvis concept becomes more readily available, I'll definitely be talking about it more. Hope to see you on the next episode, and thanks for listening.